You can be heard, so a minute, take it and get it right.
Take it off the stand, wander around,
Alright,
you know.
Things on.
alright, so now we're live to YouTube and we're gonna configure it so we're recording in a second.
Excellent, thank you. Where is May going? Some snow flurries tonight, maybe?
Yep, 2 to 4 inches.
Oh, is that what it's saying now?
No.
There, depends on who you
Listen
listen
to.
to. Some of them say nothing, some of them say 2.
We're ready? Great. There we go. Thank you, Kristen. Good afternoon, everybody. It is Wednesday, 21 May 2025. And this is a regular meeting of the Waterville Valley Select Board. I'm Retreat the chair, and with me here today is Wendy Rathwood, the vice chair. And I believe Dan is getting back from his
Sometime tonight. Yep.
sometime tonight, so
Mhm.
we do have a quorum, and I think we're planning on all three of us to be here at our next meeting, which is on the 4th, I believe, of
Mhm.
June. Okay, so privilege of the floor. I see several people here in attendance. If you have something you'd like to bring in front of the board that's not on the agenda, please step up to the microphone, announce who you are, and have at us.
I'm Garrett Levy.
Hello, Eric.
Can you hear me? No.
Is it on?
Is this thing on?
You're from Brooklyn. You can just spit it out, you just get it out there, right?
It'll be fine.
Yeah, just
Speak? Yep. All right, so today I'm speaking on behalf of the Tri-Pyramid Board. So the board has asked me to request permission to use hard pack,
Reclaimed.
reclaimed hard pack for the dumpster pad instead of cement. We asked for permission about 2 or so years ago.
I remember. Yeah.
And it was, yes, we've gotten permission before, so we'd like to repeat that.
Okay, is that
That's it.
okay? So I don't see Megan here to talk about it, but
We'll come back with a recommendation on the request
okay,
at your next meeting.
okay, yeah, I'd
So
like to.
June 4th.
June 4th,
It-
yes, at 3 p.m. Yeah, I think we would like to talk to Megan. I don't know, the solid
Yeah.
waste, what do you think? Talk to Megan.
I think talking to Megan would be appropriate.
Okay,
Right, another
Because-
detail
yeah,
about
please.
our dumpster pad. Someone, I think Mike had mentioned that there was dirt on the pad itself. So we checked it out this afternoon. Some of the earth has fallen onto the pad, but it's definitely hard pack. It's not damaged. It looks like dirt, but it's hard pack. It's fine. So if you look closely, you'll see it.
Okay,
And if
Very hard pack.
Very hard pack. So if you sweep it, you'll see it's clean.
all right. Well, as you guys know, we're in the process of collecting
Yes.
the comments and plans, I guess, for
Plans.
from all folks who have dumpsters, associations and commercials, and so I'm sure we'll be talking about dumpsters for
If
some
we,
time, but we'll talk to Megan about this and get her opinion.
If we could ask Megan to take another look at it. Because I
Mm-hmm.
don't think she realizes what's there.
Okay,
I think she thinks it's just gravel.
yeah. Yeah, well, not a problem. I mean, we've already had some comments about and some questions about our enforcement of the enclosure ordinance,
Mhm.
which this would be a part of, and the regulation, and she's talked to the folks to see if they can better understand what needs to be done.
We have a meeting scheduled for next week as well with staff and property owners.
I saw that on
Property
the,
managers.
okay,
Mhm.
yeah, and in fact, is it just property managers or association?
Associations and property managers and staff.
To answer,
That That
All
was mailed
questions.
out to all associations
Right,
in town.
right.
As a reminder, could you tell us what day and time?
Sure.
Yep. We have it here. I was gonna ask about that because I had not, I didn't know the exact date and time. I know we had talked about getting
3
everybody together.
o'clock on the 28th here in this room,
So a week from today
a week from today.
at 3.
Mhm. Yep, and we'll go over all the regulations and take everybody's questions. Talk through.
Are the regulations town? Or
They are town
state.
regulations. They are town regulations.
towns? You guys made them up.
No,
Well, the
well, they were
town-
adopted by the
Meeting.
town meeting. And the town regulations were adopted by the select board
We recently revised them, as I recall,
a couple of years
a
ago.
couple years ago. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think we had talked about getting a copy of that on the Public Works webpage.
We have it,
Is it? Yeah.
it is on,
Posted.
it is
It's
on
on
the
there,
town
yeah.
website.
So we, as
Mhm.
part of this process, we wanted to make sure you had everything. So there's the 2 ordinances and there are the regulations.
And every association has received a unique review list,
Mhm.
checklist from DPW.
Right,
Mike and Megan went to every one of the
right.
dumpster enclosures and noted all and any comments in each of the enclosures.
Because Megan says, well, where's the pad? I don't think she
Mhm.
realized that. It's
All right.
very clean.
Well, we'll talk to her and as I said, she's been meeting with folks who've had questions about that
Okay,
sheet with
thank you.
with the issues that she saw at the time.
Yep.
So
Thank you for your time.
not a problem.
Sure.
Anything else for you guys? No?
No.
Tom, Mr. Myrick, here for,
No, just
Yeah.
listening.
alrighty. Well, thank you for being here.
I know you get most.
So minutes, we have 2 sets of minutes to look at. I'm sorry, Kristen, I just haven't had the opportunity to finish up April 30th. I got, I think, 30 lines in and then I just ran out of time the last few days. So I'm going to just defer those.
Yeah, I think, and I had just barely submitted mine very last minute, which I
So-
feel like was unfair to you, Kristen, anyway, so I think deferring makes sense.
So we'll look at those at our next meeting, but with regard to the 19 March,
Yeah, I'll
are you-
make a,
yeah,
yeah, I'll make a motion to accept those minutes as amended,
I will second that motion. All in favor?
right?
Aye. Yeah. I have to say, I'm not, I don't think I like the way we're doing it now. I know we're trying to be more,
I know, it's hard.
more, I don't wanna say accommodating. We want to follow the law as closely as possible, but it's very difficult making changes, not knowing what others are changing. And then I have to
yeah.
read them again when you incorporate those changes. I don't know, we just have to work through the process, I think, a little bit, but we can discuss that in more detail at another
Okay.
time, but all right, so that's it for minutes. Let us move on to new business and we sent out the tax bills and now we need to sign the vote on we actually did sign, I think, right?
You signed, we need a vote.
We need
on
a
the
formal
warrant.
vote on it, so I think all we need is a motion then
Yep.
to
So it's a warrant for $3,349,747. It's 1/2 of last year's total tax bill.
very good. Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve the tax collector's warrant for the property tax levy and in the amount of $3.349747 million. And that's the half year of last year's tax rate.
Second that,
All in favor?
aye,
All right.
Good, thank you.
So I guess the next thing is we missed some of 3 of the they all were
Three
the same.
parcels.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
were all in
Yep.
Green Peak, as I recall,
Yep.
right? So
So
just
we,
catching up.
we have, yep, so I have 3 supplemental warrants
Yep.
here for, that are in the packet for your
Yep.
approval. You still need the commitment signed again. Do you? Yes,
I was wondering if those warrants there were. acceptable
these,
to sign.
these are acceptable to sign for the supplementals,
the
but you had
commitment sign-
mentioned the total commitment. Did you find that other one they signed?
No,
Okay, so what I would like is you have 3
Mhm.
supplemental bills, $275.93. On
2 of the 3.
2 of the properties
Right.
and $295.56
Right.
for the other property. So if you would vote on to do those 3 supplemental warrants. And then sign these pages
Okay.
Now,
and
just
then
to clarify, were
Yeah.
these 3 in the total or had they been
No,
missed completely?
they are missed completely.
Okay.
And that's why they are supplemental bills.
Okay.
So that will be added to the total commitment, which you reviewed at the last meeting,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
right?
So change the
And-
number a bit, right?
It changes, so the total commitment that we're adding these 3 to was $318,698. So these 3 amounts will be added to that. And if
Okay.
you could just sign this form, you've already signed this.
That we
as
did
the
that, yeah,
commitment,
right.
But we need it signed
Again.
again.
All right. So I'll make a motion to approve the warrant for supplemental 2025 water sewer bill for this is first quarter, right?
Yes.
First quarter of 2025. Do I have a second?
Second,
All in favor?
right?
Yep. amen, sign that, sign that. Which leads me to a question I had when I was reading this
Yeah.
earlier. We still on track for the commercially installed irrigation system plan? Part of this, we
Recommendation,
talked about, yeah,
The end of
guys,
June.
staff getting it out.
Yep.
So June,
We probably can do that the second meeting of June.
all
Have you
right, yeah,
start
let's plan on
ripping
that
it.
then, and that way we can take care of that, take care of that issue. Okay, that takes care of the water sewer bills. The water line repairs up in on Beam Bender Road, we have a proposal, what was it, for 23,590, so $24,000.
Actually, is that the one that got me? No, that was
That's
out
separate.
there. That's separate. Yes, so the quote is for the 23,590.
Mhm.
This, we did have a couple of contractors look at it. Dana's the one that bid on it. And he's also the one that did the repairs across the cul-de-sac when we had the same problem on the other side. So, and he's the one that made the temporary repairs this past winter.
And
So-
when was the opposite side of the cul-de-sac?
The
been
opposite
empty?
side was 2015.
And they've held up since?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was installation as well as a heat trace installed at that time, prevent the main from freezing as well.
So
Okay.
he'll do the same thing here.
Yeah, and
Okay.
it'll tie right into, at the top of Beam Bender, there's a termination point, if you will, of all of the power for the heat traces, so it'll go in still. Nothing is gonna be added additional above ground, it'll be tied into the same panel, so.
Okay.
And the panel has a light on it to let us know
Right.
that it's
Mhm.
on.
So we're hoping this will permanently,
Yes.
quote unquote,
Yes,
10+ years,
hopefully.
deal with this issue of water freeze up there.
Yep.
Okay, so you need from us,
Vote to accept the
Bid,
bid 20,
all right.
not to exceed 23,590.
I'll make a motion
Okay.
to accept the bid,
DA.
DA White for the repair on Bean Bender Road not to exceed $23,590,
I'll second that motion. All in favor?
right?
Okay. Moving along to old business. So, look at an update on the cease and desist letter. We sent for the work that's being done along Snows Brook Road by the, eighth green or T, I guess, not T,
Green.
excuse me, green.
Mhm.
And so,
So Craig
Good.
is working with staff. He has not met the requirements of your letter yet to the staff's
Mhm.
satisfaction.
And he had 30
is working
days,
on it.
right?
He had 30 days.
So he's still
anyway, so
within
we're
the-
we're
we're
within
only a
the
couple
30
weeks
days.
in
Yep.
or whatever it is, yeah.
And
Yeah.
he is working with us. He's taken out some material. Megan actually went over there this afternoon and reviewed it with him. And told him that he has to continue to take material out. So he is working on it.
Okay,
So as per the letter, he was to take all of the material out, right?
Yes, we were gonna allow him to build a small swale down along the stone wall, but he had to remove
All
the
the dirt that
material,
he
the
had put
dirt that
in.
he had put in.
Oh,
So
alongside the road.
we are gonna build a little swale down along the stone wall.
That the
But
town is gonna build,
The
or,
town will make sure he can build it or we can build it. If he builds it, it's gotta be to Megan's satisfaction.
and when you say a small swale, do you mean like going up the height of the rocks?
Yeah,
that were
probably
added,
just
or-
it'll touch the rocks and start to go up on the other side. Megan has put some marks on the rocks that he's gotta remove material to before she's satisfied.
Okay.
So basically, all the material is going to be removed except for up against
Up against the
the rocks.
rocks.
We're allowing him to
Mhm.
retain some
Yeah.
material there for his
Yeah.
wall.
Mhm.
And, yeah,
Well,
okay.
not for the wall, but to help water drain
Right,
properly.
Right.
Yeah,
Better put-
along where
okay.
the stones are. I just don't want to give the impression that it's part of the wall. It's not. It's a swale to help the water to drain off
Okay,
to where the gate used to be. He has
and
removed
therefore
both
into
posts
the, I noticed.
into
yeah,
the catch basin.
into the catch basin. He
Mhm.
has removed the,
He has
gate,
removed the
right.
gate. Which was he either had to bring it down to 3 feet or remove it. He
Right.
removed it.
Right.
Yep. And he is still working on it.
all right. Any other questions on C and D letter? Anything else to add on that? All right. Speaking of roads then, let's go on to our road projects. It's that time of year.
Yep, they are.
We've got road projects.
They are working on them. She will be doing, the DPW crew will be replacing a couple of culverts on Noon Peak Road. Prior to the repaving of the road. Megan will be talking to the school and to abutting landowners. Where they're gonna be doing the digging. And then that will include you, Wendy.
yeah,
She'll go through what work they're
Mhm.
gonna do there.
right,
We will coordinate with the school to make sure that there's no interruption of,
This is to replace the failed culvert.
there's a couple of failed.
Right at the
culverts.
intersection of,
No, the
A little bit
one,
up.
the one at the intersection of Valley Road and Noon Peak's already been replaced.
okay,
This is up in where the parking lot drains.
Okay.
Come across the road. Or
well, there's
vice
also a
versa.
stream between my property and her neighbors.
Yeah.
Right now,
That-
it's a little stream, so yeah,
Yeah.
there's a fair amount of water
Okay.
Yeah.
flow there.
And there's a failed culvert that connects into one of the catch basins in the school parking lot. So she will be replacing that. It will include cutting the road and the sidewalk. And both of those will be repaved when the paving company comes in. Right now, that's the Noon Peak portion of our road projects.
Mhm.
The other one is Packard's Road.
Right.
That will be done after the 4th of July holiday, the next week. They will start that. It'll be done in conjunction with the Golden Eagle Lodge parking lot project.
Oh, okay,
So both projects are being done by the same company, so we will be doing them at the same time. Probably weather dependent, it'll be a couple of weeks between the parking lot and the road. But
Is there-
everybody wants it to be done as quickly as possible because the
Right.
Golden Eagle cannot park their residents and guests in there.
Yeah, has there
until
been
they're
a
done.
plan established for where
Yes,
they will?
They,
Okay.
Tina's
Presumably have to
working
have.
on where
Okay.
they will park in
Eh,
the interim.
And is there a worst case weather situation in which they would defer a week? Has that been, like, is there? a
Yeah,
date?
I mean, yeah, if it's a hurricane prior to the start,
I'm
but
not
they're
wishing
just
for
gonna.
that.
No, something that serious,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
they might hesitate, but
Otherwise, it's gonna.
right
oh,
now,
Okay,
we're actually fortunate that we probably won't get bumped as we normally do when we're just doing these small sections of
Mhm.
road, because the parking lot is such a big impact
Yeah,
on
yeah.
the lodge.
now, are
So,
there two different contractors? I can't remember.
no, well, yes,
Yeah, 'cause
there's
it's-
GSM is the contractor who is doing the walkway
Yeah,
on the turnaround at the Golden Eagle
okay,
Mhm.
and the walkway between the Golden Eagle and the bridge.
okay,
And then GMI, I hate it when they have the
I
same
know.
initials, but
yeah,
GMI is the contractor who's doing the big portions of the paving,
Right.
the
Okay.
parking lots and the road.
okay,
GSM, if there are any issues with cutting the sidewalk in order to replace drainage, if she finds anything
mm,
that needs to be done, GSM would do that sidewalk paving if we need to.
okay,
But right now, nothing
Mhm.
is planned.
But these are two separate contracts.
Two
right?
separate
We have one for the
contractors.
road,
No, GMI is doing both,
right,
the paving in the parking lots and the road.
okay,
And
right,
GSM is doing the walkway for the Golden Eagle and the walkway for the town and Golden Eagle from the lodge down to the bridge.
right.
and the billing is just
And the
getting
billing,
figured
we
out as
we are
go.
writing,
Yeah.
we will have one small check, $6,500 to GSM for the walkway,
Okay,
okay, the town portion of the walkway.
yeah,
And then the balance of the 85,000 minus the
Right.
6,500 will be a check to the Golden Eagle for the parking lot,
okay,
the town's share of the parking lot.
okay,
Right. And I think I saw the letter.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
on another
Yes.
Another item?
agenda. item.
Okay,
okay,
all righty, anything else on the
And
road?
so we are doing it's related to the road projects, but the walkway the pavement was removed today. And they're doing base work that's being done by DPW. And they're prepping the area for GSM to go in. That walkway may be paved in the upcoming couple of weeks if GSM can go in. It may have to stay that way until the big project starts.
Yeah.
So it may be a month, but we're trying to get them in and do the walkway between the lodge and the bridge as soon as we can.
okay, but in the meantime. With
In the
the
meantime,
pavement
it will be
removed, it's still
passable.
walkable?
It'll
Okay,
be walkable. It'll be a
Okay.
dirt path that'll go down there until it gets repaved.
okay,
Just so everybody knows, we're gonna pave all the way from the Sally Port at the Golden Eagle Lodge, the opening, all the way down to the bridge will be paved.
All right. See if that'll help with the issues we
And-
have there.
Can't think of any
Hopefully
other.
will.
We're still waiting for wetlands permitting from the state and the final go-ahead for Jennings Peak.
is
We
there any,
still have not
idea of
gotten,
when
there's
that
nothing we
timeframe?
can do.
they just
Just
get to it when they
waiting,
get to it?
when they get to it.
Okay,
Okay. Anything else on roads?
Nothing I can think of unless you have questions.
No, we haven't even talked about any of the big road projects.
There's a whole bunch of engineering going on. There's
Right.
nothing to talk about yet.
Okay, and let's move on to the wastewater treatment plant, the new, and well, a little bit of discussion of the current one.
Okay, so we had a meeting, Dylan, Rich and I met in person with engineers, 2 engineers from Black and Beach to conduct an in-progress review of plans on the treatment plant.
Do you have it?
I don't think we have that file, do we?
Okay, we'll use this.
Grab it if you wanna show.
Yeah, why don't, can you do that? I have it on my computer.
Oh, don't worry about it. We have,
Can you access you can't access your email here, can you? Because you have it in your email.
The electronic version.
Yeah. Yeah. I emailed it to you on Saturday.
Sorry, well,
There's a,
packet as well.
well, but the electronic version that he
Yeah.
can put up on the screen. But while he gets
Colors would
that,
be
let me
helpful,
just, let
Yeah.
me, we'll talk about the site plan portion in just a minute.
Sure.
If he can get it called up. But, big takeaways, I put in your packet, a little review of. They are still on schedule to get us the preliminary financial, information update, by mid-June. They are working, on the 30% design, plan. They are running 3 to 4 weeks behind schedule on getting that plan to us. So we're looking at the final report for the 30% design phase now mid-August instead of mid-July. Mario and Aaron, the 2 engineers, reviewed the current site plan and initial 20% design building plans and schematics with Dylan and Rich. They talked a lot about a lot of different, very detailed internal items
Sure.
within
For
each
the
of the
various
buildings,
buildings,
for the
right.
various buildings.
Mhm.
Dylan and Rich provided feedback to them. We did ask for several modifications based on the discussion of those plans, and Mario and Aaron are gonna review our comments back to them and get further information back to Dylan and Rich. I listed out, I'm not gonna take time to go through all of the details. We'll see them implemented when they get us the actual 30% design. In addition to the site plan review, we discussed the need to accelerate the review of the condition assessment report for
current.
upgrades of the current treatment plant. We had the wet test failures and plant
Right.
equipment issues that we've been having, so they understand that we need to look at the lagoons in detail, and we need to work on that and accelerate getting that condition assessment back from them. They spent a few minutes with you at the plant, looking at some of the more egregious issues that we're having. So this is our general layout. Folks that are watching online or watching a recording won't be able to see, but this is the area where the new plant will be. Buildings are just in the general location right now. They're not absolutely final, but this does give us an idea of what the new plant will be. Looks like we're going to have a total of 5 buildings within the complex. And actually it's 6. This building here is actually 2 distinct buildings. They do share a common wall, but they they are totally self-contained, buildings. The, uh, I don't think it's necessary to go through unless you guys have some specific questions about the layout. What this does show us though is the extent of the probable paving area,
Mhm.
which is the gray on the map. The pink is the buildings themselves. They're very large square footage wise, because this is our current plant. And then now we have 6 different plants, but remember, these buildings are replacing all of this area,
Yeah,
because the treatment that goes on, especially in this building where the membrane bioreactors are, is taking the place of the lagoons. So it's actually a much more compact area when you look at it in terms of all of the area we use with the current plan. So, it's probably smaller than we anticipated.
Yeah.
Do you have anything that you want to add, Dylan?
No, I mean, all in all, it's, the position of these buildings are, you know, as Mark mentioned, really kind of placeholders right now until we get back definitive, information on subsurface work that was done, just to make sure that these buildings can go where they're projected to go. And then from that point forward, then, you know, if there's any concerns or anything like that, then we can, once we know that they can be placed where we want them to be, then we can talk about potential reconfiguration if that's a concern.
mhm,
And a couple of things, they did move back away from the DPW building.
Yes,
That was good. They got away from the fuel point.
Right.
That was a positive. We
Yeah.
asked them to
So
do.
that was the question I had overall with
Yeah.
is this gonna fit in with the transfer station, the DPW
Well,
building?
we did, one of the big items that we told them was, we really feel that area 20, building 20 is too close to clean water lane.
Mhm.
Where we don't see that being a viable position for that building, because the public access need
Mhm.
into the transfer station, it's way too close.
right,
So they're looking at, they'll push it back or relocate it. Again, we're waiting, like Dylan said, for the boring information.
right.
They've completed all the borings?
They have completed all the borings.
they're gonna look at the data that they have and just go through and make sure that they don't feel that they need anything additional at this time before they make sure they go into 30% final. Cause that will be when basically everything is in its really
Get
final.
locked in.
Yeah.
Right.
The only thing, to Mark's point, just to add to that, one of the other reasons why we mentioned about that building is the access point. The primary function of that building along there is gonna have an overhead door that will need access in and out for, the trash truck or trucks in general. So it doesn't make sense to have, you know, a truck obstructing 2 lanes of traffic, but, in and out, if you will,
Mm.
in a confined area already, so.
Right. Yeah, other points that came up in discussion with you guys, I think are important, is that I was assuming the borings hold, all the tests
Yeah.
hold, these buildings will be half buried. So they're trying to reduce the overall impact, even though,
The visual
you know,
impact.
it's, yeah,
Gonna be along the
and
road.
We are,
it's gonna be difficult to shield. And then also looking, of course, at renewable energy options,
Mhm.
whether it's geothermal or solar, that's all being investigated as well.
Yeah, to that point, Wendy, the Black Beach is one of the biggest firms in the world, for that matter, but they're a leader in renewable energy, and they're LEED Platinum.
Yeah.
I think they're, you know, whatever the highest LEED
Platinum.
certification there is,
Yeah.
they have multiple engineers that hold that.
certification.
That would be built into the design of this facility, so.
Nice.
And there really won't be any screening, I don't think. We'll have some nice landscaping.
We'll have nice landscaping. The
'Cause it's
screening
big.
is gonna be an issue.
Yeah, I was asking earlier about the possibility of a live wall on perhaps the the sides of the buildings that face the
Oh, I
road.
see.
Like just living wall, with plants if. Just,
We'll
so we're
talk
looking at
Yeah,
something
about
We
besides
could talk about it.
concrete
Yeah, no,
or
it's
murals
in
or, I don't
terms
know,
of,
Yep, murals,
yeah,
something.
landscaping or
yeah.
visual.
But they're 30
Visual
foot
impact.
tall buildings, so hopefully we can get half
Get
of
half
them
buried, yes.
underground. So we'll only see 15 feet, so
Mhm.
single story buildings, not building skyscrapers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
they're very their sensitivity is getting better to the concerns. So,
Good.
yeah. Overall, I thought it was a pretty good meeting.
Yeah.
The design within each of the buildings is still pretty schematic, but they are laying out where pumps go and where all the machinery will be placed in each building. They seem to be giving us good area for maintenance there. It's obviously well engineered information. So they had a good discussion about the technical. I went to sleep a couple of times, but Rich and Dylan were enthralled, so that's good.
And
Yeah.
as far as the project manager,
Project
What's the
manager, that was
timeline?
another item that we discussed that they realized that we need to accelerate.
yeah, so
Our
what kind of
design.
timeline would we be looking at there?
I think we're still looking maybe the end of this year before the fall to the end of the year.
Now, we've already asked them to give us some
We have.
options, I think.
They are working on it. Yeah.
Okay,
I had a question, another question I had, I didn't quite understand, at least I couldn't visualize 4E. About options for resort access to their pump station.
Oh, that's
Tecumseh
for,
Road and all
that's a
that.
construction. So the
Yeah.
resort needs access
To that, to their
that
pump station, right?
And if you see this, there's no planned access to that, so they gotta figure that out.
And by
and-
access, we're talking what,
Vehicular access around the clock, unfettered. They have an easement to
right,
get in there anytime they want,
right.
to
We're
maintain
talking
their
truck
access.
truck access.
so going down Village Trail wouldn't be an option?
They may, I mean,
Okay.
that's up to
Right.
they gotta figure it
How
out,
do they-
and Dylan's got delivery trucks
Yeah.
that they're blocking.
Sure.
We're gonna have to figure
Figure that
out.
out. So they
Some
come
of
in now down Clearwater, make that
Clearwater.
left and go down the side to
Mhm.
the
Yep.
village trail and it's just across.
Yep,
But that's all gonna be
that's all gonna be torn up,
changed.
so we're working on that.
Okay,
There's the potential as well, not to, not jump.
No, go ahead.
There's the potential as well for that to be a permanent change. Because,
Right.
what's missing on that oversight is, or overview of the site plan is fence.
This,
Sure,
this
right,
whole
right.
campus will be
Right.
encompassed.
I wondered about
By a
that,
fence.
just like the water works, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, and truthfully, even the, it is what it is, it's a 50-year-old facility, but going forward, any facility, anywhere, that's what you're gonna see is just as a security. measure,
Controlled
fence,
access.
Yeah.
Controlled access.
That's true.
So this will, yeah.
Mm.
Sounds like an interesting space and engineering issue.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to
Mhm.
deal with to get access to that.
Yep.
The boring up at the mountain, that's
They looked at it,
they saw what
before they left, they saw what
had been
they-
done.
they saw what's there.
Oh, I mean, they went up there. I
They
was
went
wondering
up
if they
there.
they did get the
They
information.
did get the
right,
information on
previous.
prior work, and
Okay,
it answers some questions, but it's not really deep enough for what they need.
Mm.
The type of borings that they did here down 40
Yeah.
feet plus, that's the
That's what
type
they
of
need.
borings they need up there. So they are working on scheduling that. We're working with Tim and, we're getting in there this summer is the plan.
Okay.
yes, Eric, you had a question.
Regarding the exterior of all these buildings, do we
Mhm.
know what material, do we know what color?
No, not yet,
We don't know.
nothing.
We may not need screening if they choose right.
Let's see. Right.
Yep.
It's a sewer plant. I guess I'm saying
It's pretty industrial.
I don't hold up much
It will
hope
be
for being,
pretty
it'll look
industrial.
like,
Gray cement, but.
It will be great. Right now, it's gonna be pretty industrial, but that's what Wendy was talking about. They had architects working and making it another ski chalet, but the costs are astronomical to do those sorts of things. And so right now, we're at a very industrial facade. We'll work on how to treat that so it's not quite so stark. Yes. I mean, we did some good stuff with the rock treatments on the DPW garage. You know, those sorts of things are gonna be the colors and, you know, trying to get it to look a little less industrial.
okay. Anything further you'd like to say, Wendy?
I don't
Nope.
think
Any
so.
more questions
Not
on it?
much.
All right, we'll just plug along. I guess for the board, the next big date on that will be the mid-June
Mid-June.
cost
Yes.
estimates. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Current New Hampshire legislation. What are they drinking in Concord? So we're pretty much in the end game here now, right?
We are, all bills have to come out of committee, out of all of the committees on both sides, Senate and House sides, by June, whatever that first Friday of June is.
The 6th.
6th
Sixth.
has to come out. So D-Day, very
D-Day, yeah,
appropriate
I was
day
thinking the same thing.
for it to
It will
come
be.
out. And then anything that they need, all of the votes need to be taken by the following week.
Wow. Okay. You're gonna have a
Because they
busy
have
week.
to have everything done by the end of June. I mean, everything must be done, including any veto overrides or anything. So stuff has to get to the governor.
Right. And a
For
couple
her
have
to-
already, right?
And some have.
At least one has and one is on its
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. So, yeah, right now, the good news for us is 397
Hmm.
was inexpedient to legislate. That was the donor communities bill.
Yeah.
So that is dead. Given that it was recommended inexpedient to legislate 8-0,
Oh,
means
wow.
that
Yeah.
it is
Yeah.
dead.
But everyone's waiting for the
But
Supreme
everybody's
Court
waiting for
Yeah.
the
to
Supreme
make
Court.
their decision.
Yep. And, you know, the rest of the
Which makes
bills are
sense.
as they're laid out by NHMA there. We were
Mhm.
supposed to get, a vote from the House Ways and Means Committee on the, health trust bill,
Oh, sure.
this afternoon. It might have happened already. I did not see it before I came down.
Now, they were getting a lot of
They were
feedback,
getting a lot of.
not in favor of the,
Not in favor of the bill.
from
So,
organizations of some weight.
The amendment
think,
that was
yeah.
supposed to be proposed today, was to move all of the health trust, all the risk pools,
Hmm.
take them out of the Secretary of State's department
Mhm.
Oh.
and move them to the insurance department. So, and that was gonna be an across the board amendment so that everything, including Primex and the other, school care,
Mhm.
all the risk pools would move over to the insurance department. And that seemed to have support. I don't know if it passed today. If that passed the House committee, it goes to the House for a vote. Then it goes back to the Senate because that's a change, an
Right,
amendment.
so it's different.
And they either the Senate has to agree to the amendment as is, or they have to have a committee conference
Sure.
on it. And figure out what
The
wording
language.
they can all live with. So that's the other big bill that we're watching, other than the planning board,
Right,
planning and zoning
right.
stuff.
Well, it seems that all these land use bills are going to require a lot of work by the planning board
Yeah.
this year.
I think they'll all pass.
Yeah.
I don't see many, if any, that are gonna die.
So
Okay.
major
And they're all,
changes coming to our zoning.
apparently, they're all gonna be signed by the governor, so.
Huh.
Uh, they are hearing a lot of negativity, but I don't know if it's enough to get them to change their mind.
Hmm.
All right, well. Anything else? Wendy, anything else you'd like, on this sausage making, as
This,
they call it?
No, this. It,
A lot of
Legislative
this stuff is
sausage making.
going, a lot of this stuff is going by consent calendar, which means it's already been decided. that
Yeah.
It's gonna pass, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then people don't get
So there's no.
stand out for any reason.
There's
It's like a
no.
big
right,
blob,
There's no debate.
right?
That's the thing. You don't get any floor debate with the consent calendar. It's just approved.
Yeah.
So unless you can get somebody to make a motion to remove it from the consent calendar
right.
and
Right.
get a positive vote on that motion,
Yeah.
then they can have a floor debate. But these are not like regular bills that you would see them actually debating back and forth and an open vote on those. When it goes on the consent calendar, you might have 20 bills that
Right.
get
And
approved. at
time
the
is
same
pressing
time.
down on them too.
It's just
Yeah.
kind of a cowardly way to move forward with some of these things, I feel like.
It is partially
Some-
that
Sometimes
political
it's a
liability.
strategy.
Yeah,
Sometimes
exactly.
it's a
Yeah.
strategy and sometimes it's, all these things that you establish committees to do all the legwork.
Right.
And then you go with their recommendations
Right.
because you have your people on the committee.
Yeah.
So unless you want to buck what your people on the
are-
committee are
Mhm.
doing, you'll go along and there's a lot of, back scratching.
Yep.
Yeah.
Vote trading stuff, so.
Yeah.
We're just gonna be at the tail end of this.
Yeah.
And we'll have to make changes accordingly. I'm sure there'll be lots of legal action on these as well.
Yep.
All right. If there's nothing else on that, let's go ahead and move to the
Department updates.
department operations review.
Mhm.
Yep.
Unless you have questions, there isn't really anything that we haven't talked about already. We're working on.
Yeah. I think
Um,
the only thing, just to circle back to a theme that we've touched on before, is just the communications.
Mhm.
For instance, on Tuesday, I think it was
Yep.
awesome that the training at the NRRA was going on for the transfer,
Mhm.
the Department of Public Works,
Mhm.
and that
Yeah.
impacted the transfer station. And while I think there was recognition that was going to happen, it perhaps wasn't reminded to everyone. And I did hear from some folks who were disappointed because that's, in their system of their schedule
Mhm.
for going on Tuesdays. So I really feel like we need to
Mhm.
continue to work harder to communicate well with everybody, with the townspeople.
Yep.
That Facebook page, so Waterville News and Views, seems to be read by a lot of people. Signage, especially for something that we knew was coming up ahead of time.
I think
In
signage
place
and
ahead of
down
time.
here at the transfer station like a
Exactly.
week ahead of time may
Or
resolve a lot of
even
that.
as soon as ahead of time type of thing, so, if someone misses a week. I think there needs to be a stronger strategy for really communicating well.
Yep.
Because it's all for good reason, and I think anyone who knew why the transfer station was closed would be glad that our resources
Mhm.
were being spent in learning what they were learning there.
Yep.
But communication just slipped.
Yeah, that's the lesson from that. I agree. So that, Public Works, anything else on Public Works? I think we've got, we got all the specific things we wanted to talk about already. Rec, anything, Wendy, you wanted to raise on the Recreation Department?
I don't
Great
think so.
report.
One thing that did come up, kind of segues a bit,
Mhm.
from the MSW working group. Is there was a bit of confusion as to the size of branches that could be picked up during the, community cleanup day.
Mhm.
And I think there again, comes down to just not beating people over the head, but being
Yeah,
very
yeah, I know
thorough
what you mean.
with the
Yep.
reminders. It's been as far long as I can remember that we've had, for example, the 4-inch diameter.
4 inch, 4
rule.
feet, right?
Yes, and I think with new people in town, it's just not always realized, so.
Yep.
That-
Figure out a sign process for down here at the transfer
Yeah.
station.
That would be part of
Yeah.
it, right? But on that one, I think there was, I think Megan was very,
I
proactive.
did hear it a couple times and yeah, it is frustrating that it's still,
And people, right, people
isn't-
still don't get the information.
yeah,
I think she was on News and Views with that.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
think she was on, it was on the website.
Mhm.
I think we talked about it several times, so. Yeah, we can always do things better. Right,
yeah,
but
just,
still, yeah, people have to do their bit
yeah.
too.
Anyway.
Yeah, and in that regard, I think, because of some of the stuff that was put out, I know there's a not very long section of a fog line on a road on Snows Mountain that wasn't repainted because they couldn't get at it
Oh. Because of all the,
because of the
Items
debris
left.
that was left. Yeah, it's not very long, but it's,
I'll talk to her about it.
yeah, they could take a look at it. It starts roughly just north of Greeley Hill Road at the fire hydrant and goes past Craig's, and my driveway.
Yep.
On the opposite side, because there was a lot of, yeah, there was a lot of, debris piled up by one property owner.
Yep.
Most of which I think actually the, Department of Public Work picked up. And then some people took some of the, because they cut down trees, basically. It wasn't just debris that had fallen
Yeah.
or
Right.
trees that had fallen. There were many trees along the property line that they cut down, that the owner either cut
Mm.
down himself or had cut down. I thought I saw him out there with a chainsaw
Okay,
as well, but it resulted in a segment. Again, not very long, but a segment of the white line not being painted.
okay,
I think that's the reason.
Yep.
Stands to reason.
okay.
All right, so we did, rec. Let's not forget the mention, the, casting for
Casting for
Casting for
Kirby
Kirby
is this
coming up.
Saturday.
coming up
Where
Saturday,
you're-
Sunday.
Or
the 24th.
It's Saturday.
Is it
Saturday, it's
Do I have it
Always
backwards?
Saturday.
Saturday,
Yeah, it's the 24th, no?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
that was Sunday.
it isn't usually on Sunday,
Yeah.
it's usually on Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just wear your snowsuit.
it could be, right. And, huh?
Ice fishing. I looked over the weekend, the high here in town does not reach 50 degrees
No,
the whole
it's-
weekend.
It's gonna be a
Yikes, it's gonna be cold.
cold.
Yeah.
It's not as bad as the year that it snowed on the 4th of July. That it was colder on the 4th of July that year than it was Thanksgiving Day. It was nasty. I remember it because we were selling strawberry shortcake
Oh.
for our scout troop, because they were doing a fundraiser, and we sold like 3 strawberry shortcakes all day. It was, it was terrible. Literally had a winter jacket on. It was bad.
And any questions, Wendy, on the DPS, weekly report?
No.
Anything you wanted to add? I didn't have any either. I see the academy is up and running. right? It
Yep.
just had a great turnout. They had a lot of people the first
Yeah.
day.
Yeah,
Excellent,
well received.
excellent. So, Dylan, since we have you here, would you
Sure.
like to give us an update
Yeah.
on
Yes.
water, your department, water and sewer,
It's
municipal services? Do I have that right?
Normal operations. We had the wet test this week.
Yes,
So.
waiting.
Yeah, wow. Today was the second day of it. Friday will be the final day of it.
Oh, I see.
Last week we had replaced, I don't know if anyone noticed, but I had reached out to Rob Dean as president of Sunnyside. Because there was a manhole actually that had been buried for probably 20 or 30 years, a foot under grade. So.
Guess we hadn't needed it for 20 years,
Well,
but now,
now it's available, so.
okay.
I had reached out to him just to let him know that we were gonna be bringing it up to grade, so that was brought up to grade. We loamed all around it and then seeded it with grass seed, so that way it won't impact their maintenance of mowing or anything like that. It kind of just blends into the hillside, but it's at least up to grade for us in the event that we need access to that. It went well. It actually went better than I expected. It took us about an hour to do the whole thing. Took longer to get all the components to do it than it took to do the actual work, so.
Mhm.
That went well. And then kind of just doing some work in preparation for the work that's gonna have to take place on Noon Peak this summer. There's a bunch of gate boxes there that need to be brought up to grade because the road's gonna be, a thicker depth than it is currently, so bringing everything up to match it. That's a pretty original infrastructure, so that was a little bit of a task to get things that kind of match with what's installed. But otherwise, really, that's it.
Now, the wet test, was that because of the one that, is this the second one?
So this is our
Third?
second quarter one.
Okay,
So this is a scheduled one regardless.
that was, okay.
And this one is acting as a retest as well.
Oh,
So
it is, okay,
multifaceted, yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay. Good, nothing else? Yeah.
Mhm.
How about administrative services? What's happening?
The board has expressed some concerns about outdated information on our website, so
Mhm.
I spent the past couple of weeks doing a pretty thorough dive into the content that we have there. As well as reaching out to the website design folks, Civic Plus, to see if there's anything I can be doing now in anticipation of the new design. To maybe declutter some of the old content that we have on our website, so that the transfer process could happen as smooth as possible. So I'm waiting to hear back from them. We also, at the last meeting, I told you we were in the process of applying for a July sale with the bond bank.
Mhm.
So that application went through and we were told yesterday that we've been approved for what was July, but now Mark indicated it will be an August 1st sale this year. So I am anticipating some loan agreements and a certificate of vote to come my way prior to your next meeting on the 4th for signature. So that borrow is in the amount of $2.65 million, 2.45 for road projects, or 2.4 for road projects and 250,000 for the second
Mhm.
half of the ambulance.
Mhm. And what was the interest rate that ended up being for that?
We're
We're still waiting
The
to,
maximum we're working on at the bond bank, our maximum projection right now is somewhere between 4.75 and 5
is the max.
is the max. Hopefully it'll be much less than that,
Yeah,
but
yeah. So
our-
we'll find out when,
when the sale occurs,
oh, in August, okay.
So the days of 2% are long gone.
long gone.
Yeah,
Well,
not
rates,
coming back.
the rates, the bond rates have increased anywhere from 25 to 50 basis points since January 1st.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
0.25%
Right.
since January
A lot
1st.
of turmoil in the bond market.
Well,
And
yeah.
they're different every day you go out. So we are doing a negotiated sale.
Whatever happened to
Not
that bill that was going to
competitive bid.
remove the tax exempt status from munis?
It was removed from the one big beautiful bill. this is a federal
Yeah.
removal of tax exempt status on municipal bonds. That's been removed
Good.
from the federal budget bill. Doesn't look like it's gonna be put back in, but they're still negotiating today.
Sure are.
So we'll see what happens. But right now we seem to have dodged a bullet.
Okay. I think I hit all the departments. Anything else we leave out? Anything else you have on?
No, nothing else. My
Okay.
stuff is all on the work plan.
All right, well then let's go ahead and, are you good with the
Yep.
review? Let's go ahead and move on to the town manager and select board work plan for 2025 and where we're at.
So I updated,
Yep,
my section of it. Where a few more completes on there, so. But do you have any specific questions on the information I provided?
I did not have any.
No, I didn't
Any,
either,
Wendy?
no.
Yeah. Okay,
Okay,
I'm gonna move on to the. Do we have, I'm just scrolling through it again
Yeah.
now, on the signage for, the old Britain property, we'll have to come up with a name for it too.
Right,
Mhm.
Is that, just chugging along? We were gonna put some signs up.
we're ready to do that if we get your input on what you wanna see. The type of thing, you know, if you can give me some parameters, we'll do some designs for you to look at. Um. You know,
Yeah, no, okay.
how big of signs are you thinking? How, what, what,
And what do we want them to say?
and what do you want
Yeah.
them to
Say it'd
say,
be the-
yeah,
Yeah,
So if you wanna jot down some ideas and we can talk about it on the 4th or the 18th.
yeah,
Um,
all right. Yeah, let's make it an agenda
Happy
item
to
for then, and then we could.
do it on the 18th. We got a lot on the 4th.
All right,
okay,
yeah, I just noticed a couple times walking that way that people are driving into that area.
Yeah.
To fish, which
Yeah.
is not a problem, but there's nothing to say. All the signage has been taken down.
Right.
mm,
Man, so we just need to get something up there. And I think DPS wanted to have input too on the quote unquote beach area.
Yeah, we need to keep people from going out there and recreating the way they
Right.
historically have, which
Yeah.
is fires.
Fire and
Everything else. So,
lots of
Right.
empty,
and
beer
empty
cans.
beer cans.
et
Yes.
cetera, et cetera.
So we need to keep
I don't know,
them
yeah,
from
I'm not sure the
recreating.
sign's gonna
improperly.
resolve,
No, no,
issue, but we should
but we need
post
to
it.
have something out there for what
Yeah.
is allowed, what's not
Yeah.
allowed.
right,
People, we need to get information out there.
The thing I'm most concerned about is, given the looseness of how, people were able to modify that property under the previous owner and then the owner before that. I don't think we want anyone going in there right now and cutting down any trees or
No.
trimming anything.
No,
right,
I think we just want to leave it alone, mowing anything down. High Country is mows part of that area at times and, up at the, by that
Yeah.
circular area there, the
Right.
turnaround, excuse me. And,
well, you have Tecumseh 2 and High Country.
yeah, those would be the two major,
And some of it
well-
is our right of way as well. So
Right.
we do a little bit of mowing
yeah,
around
yeah,
the turnaround.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
or
But
for-
yeah, this is on the hillside as
Yeah,
going
right.
down.
Yeah,
That's actually a very nice, at some point in the summer, becomes a very nice field of wildflowers,
mhm,
mm,
which I would like to keep, but apparently High Country had an agreement that they can just mow that all down and keep that flat
mhm.
for view purposes, I guess.
mm,
I don't know, but yeah, we want to pay attention to things like that.
yeah,
And I don't think there were any lingering agreements having to do with cutting down trees review or anything like that.
No.
I know there was a lot of that went on the last couple of years. The private
With
home,
David, yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
the private home, they
Yeah.
did a lot of cutting. And then also some along High Country.
Mhm.
Maybe we want to inform those folks. There's a new owner.
Well, I think we need to get some signage up.
Well, get
that
some
says
signage
there's
up.
a new-
Right.
Yeah,
And don't do anything till we figure out what we can do.
Yeah.
All right, shall we move on to, on that turnaround? I guess we're just gonna leave it. We don't need it anymore, right? Because we're gonna go to, are we using it for snow storage?
It
In
can be
the,
used for snow
in the
storage.
winter, because people park there, not
Yeah.
just to walk their dogs on the trail, but
Mhm.
I know it's people just park there. There's the overflow parking, I guess, for the properties around there.
Yep.
But we don't have any designs for designs, I mean, any intentions for its use other than
No,
it's there and
no,
it's available.
nothing
for-
Megan and I have talked about.
Okay,
mm,
all right. Let's move on to the select board work plan. There's one thing I had. Hold on a moment. I wrote it down, but I didn't bring that note with me. Well, clearly you need to change the number one item, change that to mid-August.
sure.
Other than that, I didn't have, and I guess we're just waiting with regard to the ordinances. I think the interested town staff or the responsible town staff are
Yeah.
gonna look at it and provide
We'll,
recommendations to the board. So whenever you wanna do that, we can put it on the agenda.
Yep.
A few at a time or however it comes out.
Yeah, it'd be nice to not do them all at once.
No,
no.
yeah,
3 or 4 at a time or
Right.
something. That needs to be a department head meeting agenda.
yeah, and then you can coordinate among the
Yeah.
departments as to with some of them, probably there is no change. And always keeping in the top of our mind, it's a crapshoot at town meeting when we go to change ordinances. They seem to go off sideways the last couple years. So
They're just different perspectives.
I'll live
right?
with the grammatical errors
Yeah.
and the typos and the misspellings. But we can correct those anyway, can't we? We don't
Mm,
have to.
yeah.
That's just cleaning it up. So yeah, it's good. Alrighty, I didn't have anything else. I can't remember what it was I was thinking of. Sorry, I wrote it down, but didn't bring it
We'll
with
have
me.
to get with Margaret on
The
the
personnel.
personnel policy.
Yeah.
Once you get the website stuff done, that probably should be on your agenda to do.
Mm.
Just get her in and you and I can sit down with her first and then figure out how we're gonna do her review with the
Okay.
departments.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was thinking job descriptions especially would be important, you know, for the admin team in particular, for everyone like tax collecting, just so we know. I keep thinking ahead to next, you know,
Oh, yeah,
their
yeah,
impending
yeah.
retirement and just
Mhm.
so we have a better idea of who's doing what and so we know.
Okay, that's a separate thing though. So that comes under our pay plan. So we have a personnel policy.
Mhm.
The personnel policy has an appendices for the organization and stuff, but really we have the pay plan and the structure of our pay grades and everything else. That's really a separate, I've always looked at it as kind of a separate thing. It is mentioned in the personnel policy,
Right.
but do you want us to do as part of the personnel policy review? Are you thinking to review all job descriptions
Not
and the
necess-
town organization?
Not
or-
necessarily all, I just am thinking ahead, you know, and perhaps this isn't imminent, but if we're going to be looking for a new town manager, I think it'd be helpful to know everyone's responsibilities and the interplay, because I know there's a lot of overlap within the tax collecting upstairs office
Yeah.
side of things.
Well,
admin.
why don't we do that under succession planning and just have a
Yeah.
discussion of all of that
Town
stuff?
structure
Yeah.
and.
Town structure and
Yeah,
duties
Jobs,
and
duties, that's a
responsibilities.
better way of putting it.
yeah,
Duties and
As part of the succession planning, not as part of the personnel.
yeah,
policy.
sorry, actually, that's where I was looking.
Oh,
for
okay.
Personal
All right.
succession, yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll do that as a separate
And I
discussion.
think what
Yep.
was it, a couple years ago, or maybe even 3 years ago now, we did take a hard look at the pay. Um,
Yeah, and that was all done under the
the
pay plan,
pay
not.
plan
not
as
the
part of our
personnel
budget.
policy.
right,
budget
Right.
discussion, so there's always that possibility in the fall, see if we need to make any changes. Hope not, we've
yeah,
Mhm,
made some pretty significant changes and hopefully they're working out.
mhm.
Yeah, I think for a lot of these, I think my general comment was that if there's anything on here that we should be discussing, then it's just a matter of getting it on
6B2,
our agenda, right? 6B2
yes,
path from,
Corcoran Pond.
oh, you're talking about the Roman, sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry, 6B,
6B.
Roman numeral 2. Okay,
We need to do that
yeah,
in the next, it may even need a special meeting depending on what gets submitted tomorrow
okay,
to the planning board.
right,
Corcoran
right.
Pond.
all right, we'll see what that is, and
Tomorrow.
then we can either have,
Tomorrow
yeah.
is 21 days is tomorrow. I just counted today. He's okay to get it in tomorrow.
it hasn't, yet. It's tomorrow,
It's
right? It's the
tomorrow,
21
is
day.
21 days
yeah,
before the meeting. The
It's okay.
planning board site plan application, we're gonna get a site plan application tomorrow. Well, I've been
in
told
theory, yeah,
that we're gonna.
It
get
better
one
be, if they want it on the
If they
June
want it
meeting,
on.
yeah.
And then number 9. We need
Yes,
to
that's when we've
set a
been
date.
talking about,
We
so
need to
let's
set a
put that
date.
on
One that is
We can-
not on here
Mhm.
yet is the franchise agreement. That's not on this list.
the franchise
The
agreement.
charter,
Oh,
charter
cable.
Right, yeah.
communications
Right, right.
franchise agreement
Right,
for,
yeah,
all right, yeah, go ahead and put it on. I mean, I think we basically had kind of pushed that off because there was no hurry, but I guess
they're in a hurry.
charter and our
Our
council
attorney.
would like to get this wrapped up.
Yeah,
So. And that would require a public hearing,
yes.
yeah, so let's get that, it's
Hmm, I
moving.
guess best to get more done in June than July when things really get crazy, so as much as we can.
Yeah.
Put into next month.
I
Yeah,
know.
and if necessary, we
In 2
could have
weeks.
Yeah, exactly,
yeah,
I know,
I
Start
mean, if
in 2
necessary,
weeks.
we can take a couple of these and just have a special meeting so
Yeah.
that we're
Yeah.
not dealing with the
Yeah.
other, the normal ebb
Why-
and flow of town operations.
Yeah, why don't we take the franchise agreement,
Mm-hmm,
and the arena lease and do a special meeting to review those in
All right.
detail,
Yeah.
those 2 things. And then the Corcoran Pond
see what,
easement should be its own meeting,
right,
depending on what, if anything, gets submitted
Yeah,
tomorrow.
okay, we'll do special meetings for both of those, I think.
Go ahead.
I do have confirmation from council that he'd be available on June 18th for a public hearing. I can ask her for further availability, but she did confirm in her email that she's available on 6/18.
Yeah,
If you wanted to open with.
if we get the opportunity to look at it in the first week
Sure.
or so of June,
Right,
as a group,
yeah,
so that you can make sure that, because we got an updated, we can send you the most recent,
yeah,
we'll send you a clean copy and a red line copy,
okay,
which is, she just sent us.
Yep.
And so we'll get that out to you. we can set up a special meeting time.
Right, and then on the 18th, which is our regular meeting time, we can have the
You can
public
have the
hearing.
public
Public
hearing.
hearing,
We-
take the comments, and then either vote at that time or
Did she
decide
say
what we want to do.
what
Yeah.
the time frame is for notice? Is it 7 days
I
prior?
shouldn't say, or even thought I know.
Find out.
Yeah.
You know, I just want to make sure that we got enough public notice for the
Yeah.
public
Between
hearing.
meetings.
Okay, so we're looking for a special meeting between now and, between the 4th and the 18th, between those two meetings?
I'm looking for between the 4th and the 10th.
The 10th,
10th
right,
or
give
11th,
it time,
so-
right?
Yeah. I mean, and then have at least a week prior to the 18th.
Right.
Unless she tells us it has to be longer.
Hmm.
All right.
Do we wanna
So
look at
at
some-
the meeting on the 4th, let's talk calendar for the special meeting.
So Dan will be here, yeah.
Yeah.
So Dan's here to work that out. And then, early July,
Mhm.
we could have the arena folks come in and talk to them. Right.
That would be good.
Sometime in July, we'll do the arena.
Yeah.
And then we'll just take Corcoran Pond as it comes.
Well, yeah, Corcoran Pond needs to be, let's see what happens
but it's- yeah,
tomorrow
that's what I
and
mean,
then.
yeah.
It takes on a little less urgency if we don't get anything
Of course,
tomorrow.
yeah.
Alrighty. Very good.
Yeah.
Anything else on the work plans? Either boards or town managers?
Not for me.
Yeah, plenty. Alrighty, let's move on to financial review. Get that somewhere. So which one should we look at? Because I got several. I was trying to follow the bouncing ball.
You got several.
Well, I got one that was, well, there was the
Oh, you gotta say, it should be the second one.
second
that
one.
you-
So the one, and I, yeah, and I know I kind of had a little back and forth there, but I feel like we should have our expenditures and revenues reports on the same date. Because right now
Yes.
the expenditures are 5/12 and the revenues are 5/20. I
Mhm.
just feel like it'd be best to have them
Mhm.
to the same
Okay.
date.
Yep,
Um. And I know we'd spoken a bit before, but just to have the revenues
the more detailed,
detailed,
Mhm.
so then we can just hold them side by side and.
Yep. and we'll have the same format. So you can do the side-by-side comparisons,
Mhm.
Yeah,
month over month.
yeah, the way they were, what was it
Mhm.
April 14?
By
Yeah.
16, or was it?
Well, the report was dated the 14th, I don't know. Seemed to be nice,
So that level of detail.
I think.
That
we-
one did not include the
Mhm.
zero. It did.
It did not.
It did not. So the reason that the format changed was the filter that we used
Mhm.
pulled when we gave you the 16th, April
Okay.
16th, right?
Yeah, I mean, it says 14th.
Or
on here,
14th,
Whatever.
but I
yeah.
think it was the 16th was the meeting or whenever.
Sure,
But
yeah,
that did not include lines that had a zero balance collected year to date. So we,
that would be good to have.
yes,
right,
Yeah,
yes,
Yeah,
so we'll use that filter. It'll be a little bit different than that, but we will go with that format
okay,
to show lines with no balance.
to show lines with no balance. Yeah, collected. And same thing on the expense side.
right,
Yeah.
yes,
Okay,
yeah, and I guess
But that
Yeah.
has enough detail, what's on that list is enough detail.
well. with the exception of the other, the expenses printed out for 512, I
Mhm.
think were really nice.
Okay,
Mhm.
'Cause I
It's
know
easy
the
to
other,
follow.
yeah, the other general government always seems to
Yep.
get lumped in with the post office and that
Yep.
gets.
okay,
So, I think this was
that
great.
format is
This
okay,
was really
Mhm.
good.
all right.
I thought it was just the revenue side that
It's with a different date.
needs, well, both the different date and the lack of detail.
Right.
But the
Because, like, this
detail
was the
that you got
revenue.
in that April meeting
Mm-hmm.
was good on the revenue side?
I think so. It
Okay.
definitely seems to break everything out.
Okay.
Much more
Mhm.
there than here.
All right,
Thank you.
The one item is we had the 89, we'll have our public hearing next meeting on the $89,000 FEMA disbursement. It's
Right.
sitting in our miscellaneous revenue line right now.
Mhm.
89 or
can-
99?
99, 90, I thought it was 99,
99.
99,
Okay,
99,000.
So that, depending on how the public hearing goes, can be adjusted.
It'll create another revenue
Yep.
line that
Right.
will put it in
good.
instead of in the miscellaneous
Hey, we like more revenue.
Right, and we're doing that public hearing on the
next meeting.
fourth, right?
Right.
Not very far away. Do you have anything particular about? the
Um,
reports?
I'm sorry.
Question?
Oh, yeah.
No, please,
For
go ahead.
the revenue, I noticed, so we've collected a fair amount of the taxes, it looks like.
Taxes get billed when they are billed. We recognize that entire amount,
Oh, so some
That
have been
actually
received.
correct?
Oh.
And then there
okay.
is a due,
Oh,
there is a due to account, right?
Okay.
That is created on our books, right? And as we actually take the checks in, that due to number goes down
Mhm.
and the cash increases. It's an accounting thing, but the number that you see there is the warrant number.
This is the line number 3110
Yes,
for 520, so collected year to date
is the billing.
is actually billing,
That's billing that's
Correct.
not actually collected.
right?
That's correct.
And
Because we
current not
recognize
collected.
it as revenue
Right,
on our books when it is billed. Because there's a lien process behind it and everything else. So we're gonna get that money one way or another.
We do the same with the
Do
utilities.
the same thing with water and sewer bills.
Okay. I guess it just confused me because I thought perhaps we wouldn't need the tan anymore. If our
No.
had paid everything
No.
so quickly.
No, nope,
Okay.
what date is the tax due?
July
1.
1.
That's when I'll get
Yeah.
paid.
Yeah.
No, a lot of people are paying
Well,
Yeah.
and if they have it set
escrow.
up as an escrow,
Yeah.
yeah, just. it's
It'll be
already
pretty
there.
close to July 1st.
Yeah.
Mm.
The last
Okay.
week before.
Right.
Mhm.
I haven't received any feedback on the new layout of the property tax bills, good or bad, so. I'm hoping.
Yeah, they seem very understandable to me.
Mhm.
I mean, I didn't have any.
Good.
So
Okay,
generally speaking, no feedback means it's good,
Right.
right?
that's right.
That's the way I approach it anyway.
Yep.
That's the way it is. Cash flow, do you want to give them info on the
Yeah.
tan and?
Yeah, it's
cash
next
flow?
on the, next
Yeah.
on the agenda, so.
So we borrowed, we had approval for the $300,000 anticipation note,
Mhm.
of which 150 we drew upon.
Okay,
And currently, we're sitting at, about $500,000 in the bank, in our checking account, and our operating account, so I don't foresee the need to borrow any more on that note unless there's some emergency that happens in the next month or so. As tax revenue looks to continue to come in, we should be able to pay the bills without any issue, and
Mhm.
all's looking good.
And our plan is to pay back the tan as quickly as we can,
Right.
July 2nd,
Yeah.
July 2nd,
Pretty much.
if not before.
not before, right,
Mhm.
as you get the money. Anything else on finances, Wendy?
Not that I
Anything
have.
else? Okay, something gnawing at me, I can't remember what it is. Doesn't help to write things down and leave the paper on your desk.
I know I try to make notes on my phone, so.
Yeah.
But even then.
Smarter, that's for sure.
mm,
Calendar review. So our next meeting is the 4th of June at 8. No,
Yep. 4th of June at 3 PM.
yeah, we have 8 PM.
Planning board,
We have it reversed. On the agenda, it just
Oh,
has
on
it,
the
it just
agenda,
has it
sorry.
reversed.
Yeah.
Right, it's 3 PM for the select board meeting on June 4th and 8 AM for the planning board meeting.
Yeah.
On
on
June
June
12th.
12th.
There's actually a planning board meeting tomorrow, a special
Yeah, I forgot about that.
planning board meeting
Yeah.
tomorrow to go over the master plan and
Yeah.
what has been accomplished, what needs to be accomplished.
Yeah.
For the rest of the year. Okay,
And just 2 notes on the
Mhm.
July 4th meeting for 3 PM to have it on the recording.
June 4th.
June
yeah.
June
4th,
4th, yeah.
jeez, sorry.
Yeah.
June 4th meeting at 3 PM. The White Mountain National Forest Pemmy
Yeah.
District Ranger will be here to talk to the board about the resort's expansion plans
Mhm.
and the notice of intent that was released last week. And we will be conducting a public hearing in accordance with state law for the use of unanticipated funds.
Right, it's the FEMA money.
And the FEMA money. So just for folks that may watch this later, that'll happen. Both of those things will happen at the June 4th meeting.
Okay. Anything else on the calendar? Alrighty, let's move to board concerns and directives, ex officio updates. I see a couple letters we've written, or at least signed.
Yeah,
We did one, Wendy, on the town easement for parking and pedestrian path.
yes. Well.
We haven't
Mark-
sent it yet.
Mark basically wrote it.
We
Yeah.
haven't sent it yet,
Yeah,
but
wanted to get feedback.
I
just
think
if
it's-
you're
yeah.
okay with it, we're gonna
It's fine.
date it and send it.
I think all of that is now the appropriate time. I imagine it'd be on the front of their minds.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're,
with the paving and
they're
whatnot.
waiting for this letter.
Okay.
I've been talking to Doug and Tina about it. They're ready to sit down and talk about it.
yeah.
Great. Yeah, good. And then hopefully this summer for the end of July,
Yeah.
Okay.
we get
that'd be good.
together.
All right.
And then there was one
For Bear Brook Lane.
on Brook Lane, basically
Yeah.
relaying to them the discussion and vote we had regarding their request for Bear Brook Lane.
Yeah.
And to convert it to a town maintained road. I think that was just in line with what
Yeah.
we had agreed to. Okay. Did you have anything else on ex officio?
A
Andy?
couple little things. The town core working group did not meet
I-
this month.
Okay.
But the MSW working group met. It was nice. Rick did a great job creating a PowerPoint. Just as like a very first step to
Mhm.
help us get organized.
This is Smith, Rick.
Yes,
Rick
sorry,
Smith.
yes, Rick
Mhm.
Smith. To help us look and plan ahead. Just to see what our goals are and, challenges and opportunities, all that.
Right.
We could continue to talk a bit more about burning versus chipping brush. And Megan was gonna look into the cost of a chipper, either purchase or renting, just to see
Mhm.
if we can minimize the pollution from burning and if people could use the wood chips. As long as it's not a huge cost.
Yeah, no, I know we've talked about this off and on
Yeah,
over the years, it seems. It's been what burning but sometimes we've had to chip just because of the volume. But
yeah.
now we're looking at, or the group is looking at
Yeah,
chipping
chip it
as the
if it-
primary.
If it's not a huge expense, and if, assuming the chips can be useful and those won't just get
Mhm.
landfilled. So there'd be. Personally, I'm assuming that renting a chipper would be the best first step, just so we would know that the chips are being
Mhm.
used. But Megan is researching that. Um,
And how often would we need it too? I mean,
exactly,
Yeah, we'll
exactly,
get
We
all
work
that.
through that
Yeah.
through the working group, okay.
yeah.
Renting makes a lot of sense.
The green cones, the two that we have out
Yeah,
the valley floor are, knock wood, still going pretty well. I know I've had a large visitor and he's gone for other things on my property, but not the green
Mm.
cone, so. Fingers crossed, and Rick's been having some success as well. So perhaps the green cones would be a way to help minimize the food waste that we're paying to dispose of.
I still have mine. Megan needs to come pick up.
Right.
Okay.
I get a
Yeah.
visitor every couple of nights and he likes to play with it. He pushes it all over my lawn and I put it back.
It's a great big cone toy.
Yeah, along with hoses, sprinkler hoses that he just grabs and
Really?
unspools them from the,
Really?
drags them across the lawn.
Oh, you like a little playground for
I
him?
guess doesn't help my hoses with these teeth marks.
No, no, I can imagine not.
And yeah, walks up on my deck, kind of looks around.
Oh, boy.
Got my flagpole. I thought there was a bird feeder at the end of it, so that came
Oh.
down one night.
Oh, jeez. Oh,
Guess they're hungry and there isn't a lot out there right now.
yeah, it's early season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, if Megan can come by, it's just sitting under my deck by my front door.
Yep.
It's
Okay.
still, it's missing a couple screws. They
Oh.
disappeared when he played with it.
Yeah,
And I think the latch isn't quite working right at the top anymore.
easy
But
enough
it's
to
just
fix.
sitting, yeah, it's
Yeah.
sitting there. Someone else can make
Okay.
use of it.
Yes,
But,
Will do.
that would be
he-
good if we could find another
he managed to
person.
find a way to get it out of the ground, so I think probably best to move along to somebody else
Sure,
who can make use of it.
okay. And then the only other thing was there was a stakeholder meeting. I'm forgetting the date, it was last week.
From Pemmy,
Last
The
Thursday.
Pemmy Baker, yeah,
the
that was the
Pemmy
question,
Baker
yeah.
Solid, district, solid waste district. There were, about 16 attendants, of which Waterville Valley represented 5.
Yeah.
So, about a third of the people who showed up were from our contingency.
Wow,
Mark, Megan, Mike, Tina Newcomb from Golden Eagle Lodge and myself.
Mhm.
So, I mean, we did get to chat a bit with, I'm forgetting his name, starts with a T from
Tony.
Casella. Tony
Casella, right.
I'm not sure that he was the right person to be able to speak to, but at least someone to be able to hear our concerns about the impending closure of Bethlehem and how we
Mhm.
need to, Bethlehem landfill, and
Right,
how we need to be able to plan for what we're going to do with our MSW. So at least we're able to have a conversation. And we'll see where it leads. I don't know, Mark, if you've heard anything else from him or anyone
Not yet.
else, and yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, it was. I guess I could understand better Megan's frustration with the organization in looking the other way. For this, what seems to me is an impending, huge impending
Mhm.
issue. There's just not a lot of concern.
seems to be when they don't come to the meetings, you would think,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, when of the 19 municipalities in the group, what was it, 5 were represented?
Mhm.
So, yeah, it was. It was less, it was a bit lackluster.
So where are we with that on the contract? We're in what year of the
We
contract
have a
with
year and a
Casella?
half left
We have a year and a half left
for closure.
for
Yeah.
closure, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
of the current
Landfill.
landfill in Bethlehem.
Yeah.
So that's how much time we have to come up with, either for Pemmy Baker, I'm just speaking to the folks
Right.
out there.
Yes.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
understand what's going on.
Yeah.
To come up with an alternate
Yeah, because
destination.
the actual closure is 2 years from this month.
Right,
So 2 years from next week.
Yeah.
Supposedly, that's the date we've been given for closure.
yes.
So
Which-
we have a year and a half to figure out what to do.
Exactly,
Either in concert with Pemmy Baker
Right,
or separately
Mhm.
and it's
Yeah.
been better as a group
yes.
correct.
To
because
be able to negotiate.
they
yes,
negotiate
yeah,
and we're such a small town.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And we're Yes.
yes, that any options that we looked at have been at a much higher rate for
Right,
disposal, and that's
not good,
not great at all.
yeah.
So,
Even though we're going down too, right? I mean, we're
yeah,
still going.
we've reduced our tonnage, and still looking at more ways,
Right.
but
Oh, have we gotten, I'm sorry if I'm
worries.
interrupting, but just popped into my head. Any feedback, I presume negative on the mattress fees? Have you heard anything? I've not.
we discussed it in the group and everyone said, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
but what can we do? I mean, it's hard. But that was one other thing that we discussed at
Yeah.
the, I mean, Baker Solid Waste, Megan was great at pushing back. Because originally that group had been told it would be a 1-year pilot, and then it turned into a 6-month pilot with very little warning. Hence our scramble to quickly raise
Right.
prices. So
Sitting with a huge container
exactly,
full of,
exactly,
mattresses.
most of which were collected at the much lower rate.
right,
And they are supposed to be looking into coming to get that container at no cost.
because that was part of the original.
Because that was
Yes.
part
Part
of
of
the
the
original.
pilot.
We were
Pilot, yeah.
supposed to have till the end of June with the original pilot,
Right.
so.
So, yeah, that was another part of our discussion with the Casella representatives
Mhm.
that were there. But
We have not heard back from them yet.
anyway, that was all. I think.
Anything else in solid waste?
Nope.
No.
Nothing else.
With regard to the planning board, as I just mentioned, there's a special meeting tomorrow to go over the master plan, where we are, where the planning board is with it, and what our priorities might be for this year within the master plan.
Like looking at the action, was it chapter?
Yeah, chapter 8, I
Eight,
believe it
yeah.
is, looking at the action plan, and there weren't a lot of things that was specific to planning board or select board, because most of them required, a number of,
Other,
number of other participants to accomplish it, but we're gonna be looking at that again
Nice.
tomorrow. That's at 9 o'clock, if anyone would like to attend. And that's about it. I think the new folks were introduced. I think I failed to mention it earlier, but our new planners from SE Group to help us with things like the master plan or any zoning amendments, a review of all of that. Either they structured well now, but all the changes coming down,
Mhm.
they'll be helpful. And North Country Council, I want to say Lisa, am I getting it right yet?
Liz?
Liz, I'm still
Liz.
getting it wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. Will be our North Country Council planner to help us on site plan reviews and so forth. So
Excellent.
we met all those folks the last meeting, and that's all pretty much settled down. I think we're just moving along, getting the work set and getting ready for probably a lot of zoning changes
Yeah,
come fall. So that's all I have on the
okay.
planning board as an ex officio update. I see, and so we can move on to correspondence.
Mhm.
I see we have
We got several things.
Yeah.
A notice from the New Hampshire Electric Co-op that Vegetation Control Services, who
Mhm.
works, it's a company that works for the co-op, maintaining their power line
Mhm.
rights of way. They're gonna be doing work here in Waterville Valley. So they will be applying some herbicides to the power line areas.
right away.
That's all permitted by the National Forest
Right.
and and DES, so.
And
Just to-
presumably the herbicides they use are run by the National Forest? or
They,
DES?
yeah, they have to be run by the National Forest and the New Hampshire Division of Pesticide Control, so
Okay,
they have a permit to do the work.
okay.
It's just a notice,
It's a courtesy
that they're
notice
doing-
to
courtesy
to the
notice to
town
us.
that we're doing
Yep.
this, okay?
and I'll talk to the Conservation
Right.
Commission about that tomorrow.
Okay, and we have some from
DRA,
Mhm.
2 letters. We had a review of our use PAP manual, which was it's the sales manual, the way that we assess property here in town.
Mhm.
It's prepared after every revaluation,
Mhm.
goes to DRA
Yeah.
and gets reviewed. It just lays out all the technical
This is what our
computer
assessors, our
programming,
contract
our
assessors
assessors
use
use,
when it comes to,
Yep.
right,
how they determine value.
value, right.
Yeah. So that was reviewed by DRA and it meets all the requirements. And then we had a review by another person from DRA of our actual assessing operations.
Mhm.
Came in, that was with you, right, Kristen? And they spot check property record cards
Okay.
and that sort of thing, in
This is the
line with
monitoring
reval.
inspection report.
Monitoring inspection.
Okay, I was wondering,
report.
I didn't quite understand
Yeah.
exactly what that was.
And so.
Because we didn't get the
they-
enclosure.
Yeah, they reviewed 9, spot check 9 cards. We had 8 that were right. One had some deficiencies that were corrected on the
Okay.
spot. So everything is up to speed.
Mhm.
Both reviews were considered
Mhm.
passed, so.
When will our new ratio be told to us? Is it September? When does the state come in
The
with
new ratio will be, in the fall.
in the fall?
Yeah.
Whether, yeah. It's not gonna be within,
No, it'll be
Right.
within 10%.
You think it will be this time?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
oh,
Yeah, geez. Well,
I
I
know, I
hope
would
so.
hope so. too.
I can't imagine that
it
sales
must have slowed
have
down.
changed that. It's slowing down.
It's slowing down. yeah.
I mean, there's still a lot of sales. They're still very high. It isn't like the market's going down a
No,
lot.
but it's not
it's-
the line
it's
like,
not-
the
yeah,
line that's like
not the
this,
increase like that.
right?
Yeah.
The sharp incline.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
Yeah, we need a break.
Yeah.
2 in the last 3 years? was it?
Yes.
Not even 3
We're
years.
good,
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 years. Okay.
please.
Any other correspondence?
No,
I didn't receive
Nothing
anything
that-
personally.
Mm-mm.
Wendy, any kind of correspondence, comments from anybody in town in lieu of correspondence, you think?
Nothing
Noteworthy
that I
for the
haven't
board?
covered yet
Okay.
already, so.
right?
All righty. I guess we can now move into a non-public
Yep.
session, so,
For matters
Mhm.
that would adversely affect the reputation of a person other than a member of the board and for pending legal issues.
took the words right out of my mouth. Do I have a motion?
I'm so moved.
Seconded, all in favor?
Right.
Aye.
So
So-
we're entering at
At,
4:42 or 43.
okay.
No, you guys are okay. I don't-
If we just turn off the.
Just let us know when everything is up. I do have one thing that I would just like,
Oh, okay, go ahead.
well, just
Sure.
the 3 of us
Yeah.
later.
Yeah.
Because